You don't want rich friends. You want access. You want doors that don't open for everyone. You want to walk into a room and feel like you belong there, even if you started from nothing. You want powerful people to look at you and think, he's not random. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Powerful circles are not closed. They are filtered. The elite are not hiding from you. They are screening you. Every room with influence has invisible criteria, and most people disqualify themselves before they even speak. They walk in with hunger in their eyes, approval in their tone, and insecurity in their posture. And powerful people can smell that instantly. Not because they are smarter, but because they live in environments where one weak connection can cost millions. So they filter ruthlessly. This is not about networking. This is about positioning. This is about understanding how status actually moves in the real world. Niccolò Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. Power does not reward the loudest, the nicest, or even the most talented. It rewards the strategically valuable. And if you learn how value is perceived at high levels, you can enter rooms most people spend their entire lives orbiting from the outside. The difference between nobody and insider is not luck. It is leverage. And leverage is built long before you shake the right hand. Powerful people are not asking, is he impressive? They are asking, is he stable? Is he useful? Is he discreet? Does he strengthen my position? If your presence does not answer those questions immediately, you remain background noise. And background noise never gets invited to the table. So the real question is not how do you meet rich people? The real question is how do you become someone rich and powerful people feel safe elevating? Because once you understand that shift, everything changes. You stop chasing status. You start engineering perception. You stop trying to impress. You start becoming structurally relevant. And that is when doors begin to open quietly, without you begging for them. Powerful rooms do not reject you loudly. They reject you silently. And that is what makes it dangerous. You don't hear the door close. You just never get called back. You think the conversation went well. You think you made a decent impression. But in their mind, a decision was already made in the first 60 seconds. Stay outside. And the reason wasn't your clothes, your accent, or your background. It was your energy. Powerful environments are ecosystems built on pressure. Every person inside them carries responsibility, risk, reputation, and consequences that most people never experience. One unstable person can create damage that ripples for years. So they develop an instinct, not conscious, not spoken, an instinct to filter. They scan for emotional leakage, neediness, overeagerness, the subtle tremor in the voice that says, I need something from you. The extra explanation that wasn't asked for. The laugh that comes too fast, too loud. The attempt to prove intelligence instead of demonstrate it. These are not crimes, but they are signals. And signals determine status faster than words ever could. You must understand this clearly. Powerful people do not rise because they are nicer. They rise because they are less emotionally noisy. Emotional noise is what gives you away. When you walk into a room trying to be impressive, you are already below the room. Because impressing is a performance, and performance is a request for approval. Approval seeking signals lower rank instantly. High-status individuals don't try to be impressive. They try to be effective. The shift from performance to effectiveness is the first transformation. You stop asking, how do they see me? And start asking, what does this room need? That shift alone elevates you mentally, but it must show physically. Your movements slow down. Your eyes stop scanning for validation. Your voice loses the upward questioning tone. You speak as someone delivering information, not requesting acceptance. This is not arrogance. It is composure.
Composure is the currency of power.
Because composure signals one thing above all: this person does not break under pressure. And powerful people live under pressure every day. They subconsciously gravitate toward those who don't add to it. The calm person in a high-stakes environment becomes psychologically valuable even before their skills are assessed. This is the first invisible doorway. You don't enter because of what you know. You enter because of how you carry what you know. And that begins long before introductions. It begins in how you enter a room, how you listen without rushing to respond, how you allow silence without panicking, how you end conversations without clinging. Every one of those behaviors says, I am not here to take. I am here to exist at this level. That is the energy that gets remembered, not the loudest voice, the steadiest one. And once you are remembered as steady, the room begins to lean toward you, not away from you. Once you stop begging for access, the next question becomes more dangerous. If you're not asking to be let in, how do you actually become someone they let in? And this is where most people fail, because they misunderstand value. They think value means being impressive. They think it means showing achievements, talking about goals, explaining ambition. But powerful people are surrounded by ambitious people. Ambition is cheap. What they are not surrounded by is relief. Relief from problems, relief from inefficiency, relief from uncertainty. High-level individuals operate in constant friction. Every day is negotiation, decision-making, pressure management, risk calculation. If you want proximity to power, you must stop thinking like a fan and start thinking like infrastructure. Infrastructure is not glamorous. It is essential. The bridge doesn't brag. It simply allows movement. That is the mindset shift. Instead of trying to be seen as impressive, aim to be experienced as useful. Useful is unforgettable. And usefulness does not mean doing small favors. It means solving problems without being asked. When you notice friction and quietly remove it, you separate yourself from everyone else trying to extract attention. For example, if someone powerful speaks about a challenge in their business, most people respond with generic encouragement. That's tough. You'll figure it out. Useless noise. But if you respond with clarity, I noticed something in that industry that might help with that issue, and your insight is concise, structured, and relevant, something shifts. They lean in. Because now you are not admiration. You are assistance. And assistance builds leverage. Leverage builds access. But here is the key. You must deliver value without attaching need to it. The moment you give something and immediately look for return, the energy changes. It feels transactional. Powerful people are hyper-aware of transactional energy. It signals that your presence is conditional. Conditional presence feels manipulative. Instead, offer insight and move on. Do not linger waiting for praise. Do not over-explain to prove you understand. Deliver it cleanly, then exit. Leaving first is power. Staying too long is insecurity. That discipline alone elevates you. And here's something deeper. When you provide clarity in chaotic environments, you reduce cognitive load. Reducing cognitive load makes you emotionally pleasant to be around. Your presence feels lighter, not heavier. Powerful people instinctively keep around those who lighten their mental burden. This is how you become someone they remember without trying to be remembered. You attach yourself to solutions, not personalities. Over time, they begin to associate your presence with precision and stability. And stability is addictive at high levels, because most people around them are unstable, dramatic, or self-interested. When you consistently show up as composed, useful, and non-needy, you begin to break the pattern they expect from outsiders. And breaking expectation is how you stand out without being loud. The real power move is this. Become so structurally valuable that your absence is felt. When you are not there, conversations feel slightly less sharp. Projects move slightly slower. Insights are slightly thinner. That subtle gap creates gravity, and gravity pulls you inward. That is how you enter powerful circles, not by asking for space, but by making the space function better when you are in it. And once they experience that, You are no longer a visitor. You are becoming part of the system. Here's the uncomfortable reality most people never hear. Powerful circles don't wait to see your resume. They decide your rank before you finish your second sentence. And they do it using signals you don't even know you're sending. Status is not announced. It's felt. And feelings form fast. Humans evolved to assess hierarchy instantly because survival depended on it. That instinct still runs today, just dressed in suits and business cards instead of tribal markings. The problem is, most people trying to enter elite environments unknowingly broadcast lower status signals, not because they are less capable, but because they are socially untrained. And powerful people are extremely sensitive to these signals because their environments are built on high-stakes decisions. When you walk into a room, your body speaks before your mouth does. Do your movements look rushed or deliberate? Rushed signals internal pressure. Deliberate signals control. Do your eyes search for approval or hold steady contact? Approval-seeking signals insecurity. Steady eye contact signals comfort with presence. Do you speak to fill silence or allow silence to exist? Filling silence signals nervousness. Comfort with silence signals confidence. Silence, in fact, is one of the strongest status signals in existence. Lower status individuals feel compelled to prove themselves verbally. Higher status individuals feel no urgency to justify their presence. That difference alone shifts perception. Another major signal is reaction control. Powerful environments test you constantly without announcing it. A sharp comment, a subtle disagreement, a joke at your expense. Most people react defensively or emotionally. That reaction instantly lowers rank, because emotional reactivity signals lack of internal stability. Stability is what power trusts. If you can remain calm when challenged, you communicate something powerful. You don't need external validation to maintain internal balance. That makes you feel safe. And safety is what allows others to invest trust in you. Trust is what opens doors. Now here's something even deeper. Speech pacing. People of lower perceived rank tend to speak faster when nervous, over-explain points, and use too many words to justify simple statements. This subconsciously signals doubt. Powerful communicators speak slower, choose fewer words, and let statements land without apology. They don't rush to defend their ideas. They present them as options, not pleas. That pacing creates psychological weight, and weight equals authority. You don't need money to slow your speech. You need self-command. Clothing, posture, timing, and even how you enter a conversation all contribute to rank perception. If you interrupt to enter, you signal desperation. If you wait for a natural pause and add something concise and relevant, you signal discipline. Discipline reads as strength. Strength reads as competence. Competence earns respect before proof. This is how you create perceived status without external status. Because perception precedes reality in social dynamics. Once people perceive you as high value, they listen differently. They give you more space. They respond with more care. That change in treatment reinforces the perception. It becomes a loop. But if the initial signals scream insecurity, you start in a deficit and must work uphill the entire time. Powerful individuals don't consciously think, he's low status. They just feel something is off. And feelings guide decisions more than logic in social environments. This is why self-control is your foundation. When your body is calm, your voice steady, your reactions measured, your presence becomes grounded. Grounded individuals feel like they belong anywhere. And belonging is the ultimate status signal. Not forced dominance, not arrogance, just quiet internal certainty. That is what powerful circles recognize instantly. And the moment they feel that from you, they stop seeing you as an outsider trying to enter. They start seeing you as someone who already stands on solid ground. Everything now connects. Composure, usefulness, signal control. They were never separate skills. They are pieces of one structure. Positioning yourself as someone powerful environments feel safe absorbing. Because at the highest levels, entry is not granted through enthusiasm, ambition, or even talent alone. Entry is granted through perceived stability and strategic relevance. Now you understand something most people never do. Powerful circles are not exclusive because they are arrogant. They are exclusive because instability is expensive. If you carry emotional volatility, insecurity, gossip tendencies, ego sensitivity, or constant need for validation, you are risk. And risk is quietly filtered out. But if you carry calm, precision, discretion, and problem-solving energy, you are relief. And relief is invited closer. This is where proximity becomes your silent advantage. You don't chase the most powerful person in the room. You build gravity around yourself. You move in environments where ambition gathers. You build sideways with rising individuals. You show up consistently, not dramatically. Over time, your name begins to circulate. Introductions happen without you forcing them. That is the signal you are shifting levels. When someone says, "You should meet him," without you asking, positioning has worked. This is the moment you move from trying to enter powerful circles to being part of the ecosystem they operate within. You are no longer asking for attention. You are being integrated because your presence adds structure. And that is the real key. Powerful people do not elevate those who want something from them. They elevate those who strengthen their position. That strength can be insight, competence, emotional steadiness, connections, or strategic thinking. But it must be real, not performance, not imitation. Real internal alignment. And that alignment shows in micro behaviors long before conversations begin. This is why inner discipline matters more than external polish. Anyone can memorize networking tips. Few can regulate their emotional state, speak with controlled pacing, and carry themselves without approval-seeking energy. But those who can stand out in high-level environments immediately. Now look at the transformation. At the beginning, you were asking how to enter powerful circles. Now you understand you don't enter them by knocking. You enter them by becoming someone those circles feel safer, sharper, and more stable with. That is why doors open quietly. No dramatic moment, no official invitation speech. Just a gradual shift where you realize you are no longer outside looking in. You are in conversations, collaborations, decisions. And it feels natural because you built the foundation correctly. This is not manipulation. It is social intelligence. It is understanding that power respects structure, and structure begins within you. If you master your signals, your composure, your usefulness, your positioning, you stop being nobody. Because nobody is not about money or fame. It is about perceived stability and relevance. And those are built, not inherited. When you become leverage instead of liability, powerful environments stop resisting you. They begin absorbing you. That is the quiet path upward. Not through noise, not through begging, not through performance, but through disciplined presence, strategic value, and emotional steadiness. That is how you move among the powerful, even if you started with nothing.